Yes, Ambazonian, my motherland, my only land of freedom and peace, a land so accommodating, a land blessed with natural resources. My roots, my nation, till the world hears our cry and intervene, we will speak till our nation becomes a reality. Long live all the Ambazonians. Long live our fallen heroes who gave up their lives to save the future generation of Amazonia. Long live Ambazonia. Our hopes are alive. Peace.
We are not giving up. We are not giving up. Amazonians, we are not giving up. We need freedom. We are not giving up. Amazonians, we are not giving up.
Fellow Ambazonians, all man a place day. Shishik no day. My apologies for coming on late. Today, I'm very grateful to address all of you. I know we had a long outing the other day during an interview with Chat Night, and I'm grateful that some of you step up the plate in the defense of our cause. As I wrote the day after, Ambazonia is the only place where, in times of a perilous crisis like ours, journalists claim to be neutral. And I wonder if between 1939 and 1945, if the BBC for 1 second could have been neutral. Or during Desert Storm, if you thought CNN could be neutral. We are living in difficult moments, and everybody seems to want to survive above the interests of the collective, and people have lost their sense of sacrifice because of so many years of colonial domination. But I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful because the majority of Ambazonians, those who picked up arms, the lawyers and teachers who rose up, those in jail, refugees and IDPs who are still fighting wherever they are, and all of us recognize the danger in association with Cameroon. We recognize that Cameroon is like a Titanic that is going aground, and we either bail out or sink with Cameroon. And I think the Ambazonian people have made a firm decision and have made a firm commitment with freedom. And this is above a struggle simply for the notion of independence. As I have said repeatedly, we are faced with a barbaric regime that virtually has no respect for human life. We are faced with a system that has thrived on looting, on killings, on propaganda, and the perpetuation of everything that divides a people, impoverishes them, and keeps them in servitude. And they have made it absolutely clear, if you do not succumb to their antics, you have three places. You are either in jail, or you are in exile, or you are in the grave. They have been very clear about it. Mr. Biya has constantly, during his outings, denigrated every group of people who have risen up with legitimate concerns about his rule, the policies of Cameroon, and their method of responding to the entreaties or demands for political, economic, or social change. And we have also been very clear. There will be no middle ground as far as dealing with Cameroon is concerned. I know people liken that to extremism. We don't want to compromise. As I said during my interview, we compromise with our land. We compromise with our political institutions. We compromise with our economic infrastructures. We compromise with our lives, our liberty. There's virtually nothing left we can offer. And so everybody must know this. It is not the Ambazonian people in the past 63 years that have refused compromise. It has been Cameroon from 1961. They have used all forms of machinations, intoxication, bribery, and corruption, recruitment of thousands of Ambazonians, and turn them into traitors. I was reading a script from one of them today, calling our country a Facebook republic. Amazonia is a tangible state with international borders that are treaty-based, recognized internationally. We are a people, not even on the basis of the Banjul outcome, by virtue of the mandate, the trusteeship, by virtue of the natural topographic features that reinforces our borders to give us the opportunity within our homeland to build a common language, a common system, a common lifestyle. We are a people. And so for anybody to think we are a product of some division of an entity called Cameroon, you are engaged in self-deception. And that self-deception is what is leading to Cameroon's self-destruction. We have to be very, very clear about our journey, because that is what we can use to explain our position. This journey has been a journey where all leaders have compromised, giving up everything with a wild hope that maybe their surrender or capitulation will win the admiration of Cameroon and some compromises. Cameroon has been very clear. They've seen us as some form of a lost territory, which they are the mother state to reclaim. And they have been absolute, not in the past, even now, about the fact that we are enemies. We are slaves. And according to them, we have no right to ask for anything. Because after all, human rights are only assigned to humans. And because we are not considered humans, we do not have the opportunity to enjoy human rights or even civil rights. So my people, Cameroon has not only denied our right to exist, it has made it impossible for us to survive as individuals and as a people by the very destruction of the foundation of our economy. They made it impossible for us to trade, to develop, and to create wealth, which is necessary for our survival. By the very fact that they destroyed completely and took over our political institutions, they made it impossible for us to organize, to make laws, to protect, or to codify norms and values. And they knew from the beginning that the foundation of Ambazonia's strength lies in their education. And I'm not talking about some classroom education. In our upbringing, in our nurturing from our homes with our parents, we were tailored to tilt towards values of compromise, tolerance, community, hard work. They knew that even the destruction of our socio-economic and political institutions will still leave us okay through hard work. They then took over our educational institution, revised our history, determined the curriculum of education that we were supposed to have. The curriculum of education of every educational system is the most important barometer that you can use to measure economic development and growth. When your educational curriculum is designed by people who are bent on eliminating you from the face of the earth, you can expect the outcome of any education through that system to be worthless. And that's what most of us became. On the left, people line up on the road to exile. They decreed schools that they could never invest in. Our parents will invest in those schools. Amazonian teachers struggled to get the kind of education that they needed to be able to educate the next generation. They were paid so badly. Teachers had to become farmers, bricklayers, taxi drivers just to survive. And sometimes the measure of the worth of a teacher was not about how many qualified students they produce. It was about how many students they failed. And nobody cared. Because why should they, considering how they are treated? Thousands of our people, after graduating from high school, went over to either Biafra land, Nigeria. The very few who had the opportunity went United Kingdom, United States. Those who went to Cameroon became frustrated. We then went back on the street to demand for the creation of the University of Boya. It took lives and limbs to get that university. And they said they were going to teach us a lesson, since we had to compel them to decree a university. And in decreeing the university, they decreed the University of Ngaoundere, I think Yaoundé too, Marwa and other places, so they can split the budget thing. And so Ambazonians ended up in a university where there were neither computers within a computer department, nor a lab within the science department. Everybody was struggling for certification rather than knowledge. Nobody understood the foundation that they needed to lay if they needed to be qualified professionally. And that's how the university has become what we call the glorious high school. We fought for the GCE board because students went to write exams. Exams were set in half-baked English and Pidgin, sometimes with French. Teachers fought, students fought for a board of education that can oversee the setting, marking, and validation of exams. When they surrendered, they put their cronies, and within a few years, they had hijacked the GCE board. At the legal front, the common law system that is very important in Ambazonia has been constantly undermined. The presumption of innocence, which is the foundation of the criminal justice system, totally destroyed. Every accused was already guilty. You had to be extorted to prove yourself. Their court systems was totally antithetical to the common law system. Political opponents were moved from one jurisdiction to the other, where they were passed through kangaroo trials, locked up incommunicado, subjected to torture, no proper legal representation, no financial support. We became hostages. Nobody could really provide an alternative. We had a wild dream that reforming Cameroon is possibly going to protect the Ambazonian rights to some form of internal self-determination. They organized elections where in urban areas they appointed government delegates to oversee elected mayors. In rural areas, DOs became the de facto mayors. They did everything to emasculate the Ambazonian people. As if that was not enough, even administrative districting, DOs took over. Mostly Cameroonian citizens. The few Ambazonians who became DOs had to succumb or be fired or be transferred to long-distance places totally separated from their families. Because they had no hope, they had to integrate and became part of the machinery of torture, fanning of intertribal wars, taking over of our land, selling those lands. They became the de facto chiefs. All the chiefs were custodians of our tradition, of our way of life, of the foundation of our being. Held their position in abeyance to obeying the laws of Yaoundé, submitting themselves to the authority of the very butchers that have devastated their communities. The men in our chieftaincies and fondoms whom we revered became public laughingstocks as they bowed to colonial governors, colonial DOs, became political appointees like the Anguafos. The rubbish the very essence of our being, made a mockery of the foundation of our lives that many generations before brave men had fought to secure. Cameroon declared his victory over us publicly and dared anyone who raised the finger. Those who tried met with immediate death. They knew France had their backing. There was no consequences. They knew they had recruited from amongst us millions of others. They knew the economic situation in Ambazonia had become so bad that millions had migrated into Cameroon and they will not bite the finger that supposedly fed them. They knew they had imprisoned, they had murdered the bravest of the bravest, and they had exiled others. That there was nobody left to challenge their violence, undermine their propaganda, and put them to shame. This is the arrogance of autocracies. And this is the foundation of the demise of all autocracies. My people, so if at any moment you have the feeling that maybe we are pushing so hard, maybe we are not making compromises, you should know we are coming from someplace called the Endelis, the Fonchas, the Joas, the Monas, and others who made meaningful compromises, ended up being humiliated. Some of you as old as half my age, if you happen to have been in Boya, you heard Pav Mona say, what kind of balok is this? You saw them travel to the United Nations to ask for help to undermine the very foundation they laid for coexistence. So it's not some stuff of our generation that we're concocting. I remember when we told Pa Tasang and the others, let's move straight, forget about this issue of trying to reform the educational system or the legal system. And they said, no, they can do it. What happened? Helicopter gunships. We all saw how lawyers were battered down in Boya, humiliated. And the very man who dared them sits in jail without any hope. No mercy, no pity. Their only crime, I'm not even talking about those who carry political baggage. I'm talking about teachers. I'm talking about not even teachers who taught in Amazonia, those who taught in Biafra, those who taught in Nigeria, whisked from their homes, separated from their children. The monster showed who is boss, took them by plane back to their capital. Demonstration of power, no mercy. And for 8 years, they've not only denied our existence, they have denied our humanity. They have burned thousands of villages. They have roasted children in broad daylight. No apologies. They've massacred young men as if that was not enough. They kill our guys, get their bodies and put them as trophies in the middle of the cities to send a strong warning to anyone who dared the master. That's what we are up against. And so you ask the question, do you want to surrender? Walk back through all the burnt villages, limping over the body of Mami Api, watching Baby Mata looking at you with a glaring disdain, walking over the bodies of all the fallen soldiers who fought so bravely for our country, back into the arms of the tyrants who laid bare our coast. Or you want to muster the courage continue this journey that was started more than 130 years ago by the great Kuvalekenyes. Scale the highest mountains, swim across shark-infested rivers, knowing fully well that if you make it, there will be hope for millions of our people. Those who have died must not have died in vain. Those who have lost their liberties, separated from their families, wouldn't have done so in vain. Today, I come to talk to you about why we must muster that courage and keep going forward. And to let you understand some of the measures that we will institute will have some level of pain. We have to bear it. Some haven't even gotten the chance. They lost their lives. Think about the children of Ngabo. Think what happened to them between the moment their murderers showed up, the pain they felt. Think about you being a parent and having your kids killed on Valentine's Day. Think seriously like one of those parents, knowing fully well how painful their death must have been, but that the enemy had enough time to put the bodies together, poured fuel on them, lit a match, burned the bodies, stood by and made sure no parent could identify their child. That is Cameroon. And so for the measures we take and the disturbances that may create, that is far lower than the pain the parents of the Ngabo victims still feel up till this moment. My fellow people, national lockdown in the entire territory of Ambazonia begins tomorrow. It will run until the 23rd. Today, our normal country Sunday has gone very well, from Victoria right up to Bamenda. We have shown that we want independence. We want to be free from the nagging grip of Cameroon. And I ask each and every one of you to begin tomorrow with courage, with a big smile on your face, with a desire to sacrifice not only for the birth of our country, but in remembrance of all those who've given their lives. Just imagine how those in Kondengi got up today and saw the videos of the various cities and closed their eyes and said to themselves, "Thank God we have not been abandoned." Whatever you do in furtherance of our cause of freedom, you must know you are impacting the lives of those in jail in a very positive manner. You're giving hope to the mothers and fathers, the brothers and sisters who have lost their loved ones. We must vomit Cameroon. We must reject it in all its entirety. We must hate it. It has caused enough pain in us. And I know you ask, what's the alternative? We have presented the alternatives to you. And I'll take a few points in terms of education. Ambazonian education is skill-based and competency-based, as opposed to the rejected certificate-based indoctrination, morally depraved, and mass education system of French Cameroon. Ambazonian education focuses on individuals' holistic development to become creative problem solvers and world creators, as opposed to a system that is interested in mass production of unschooled graduates. Our education shall be officially provided even at homes. Homeschooling is part of our curriculum. Regulated schools, Ambazonian community schools, and virtually through online education. Every day, every time, and everywhere shall be used to teach our children, depending on their need and resources required. Thus, every minute, we will have a graduate from the Ambazonian school system who is ready from day one to positively transform himself or herself, impact their family, community, and country, Africa, and the world. This is the new orientation that the Ambazonian Educational Board is putting on the table. Learning is a continuous affair from birth to the end of time. Hence, we must stop narrowing it down to tie with the traditional obsolete system that betrays the very essence of education. On this note, I call on all of you, even those in exile, to log on to www.orionambazonia, one word, orionambazonia.com, to register for any course of study of your choice. Study at your pace, graduate, and you are done. Ambazonian communities should also meet under the leadership of the Ambazonian Transitional Authority, agree within their means, set up community schools, and run them following the Ambazonian curriculum of education, policies, and guidelines. Parents and guardians must not let their children get missing in the crowd. Thus, they are called upon to be the primary investors and masters of the quality and content of education that their children get at the table. Homeschooling will become a pillar of the educational system of Ambazonia, and we are putting in place with parents together the structures that will make this prevail. My fellow people, we have been trapped like prisoners for so many years that we know of just two opportunities: Cameroon or exile. We have never believed that we can create by ourselves something from scratch, work on it, perfect it, build it, and own it. All through the past 8 years, we have shown you when you thought it was impossible to create an army. With Changshu's, Dengons, they have matured. They have grown of age. They are now so sophisticated that if you look back 8 years ago and you think of the arrogance of Yaoundé, you will never believe that we have the will or the means to attack, to undermine, and to humiliate Cameroon. Now, they believe they can defeat us through propaganda. They want to say our struggle is chaotic. So many people are dying, but they never tell you who is killing these people. Our people are suffering Nobody explains to you who is the architect of the pain and suffering. As though you were stupid to know the looters, bandits, cartel bosses who ravaged our cause, looted Cameroon Bank, destroyed WADA, UNVDA, shut down power camp, closed Yoke hydroelectricity power station, abandoned Victoria Deep Sea Port. They are the culprits. It's not the Ambazonian soldier, the man in the arena who is ready for victory or defeat, who is the source of your pain. The looters, the invaders, the anarchists. They are the ones who have imposed misery. We shall overcome as a people together, and we must stick together. God bless you all.
Yes, Ambazonian, my motherland, my only land of freedom and peace, a land so accommodating, a land blessed with natural resources. My roots, my nation, till the world hears our cry and intervene, we will speak till our nation becomes a reality. Long live all the Ambazonians. Long live our fallen heroes who gave up their lives to save the future generation of Amazonia. Long live Ambazonia. Our hopes are alive. Peace.
We are not giving up. We are not giving up. Amazonians, we are not giving up. We need freedom. We are not giving up. Amazonians, we are not giving up.
for the right to be free, and we will build our own society, and we will sing, we will sing, we will sing our own song. Yes, yes, we will fight for the right to be free, and we will build our own society, and we will sing, we will sing, we will sing our own song. Oh yeah, we'll fight for the right to be free, and we will build our own society, and we will sing, we will sing, we will sing our own song. Ambazonia, happy with you. 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 Ambazonia, happy with you.
Moleli mo Maria, e pa koke Maria, e beti leke, e jele.
You must see it. You must believe it. And then you must never stop working to make it happen. This can be Tico. This can be Limbe. Ambazonians, believe in yourselves. Stand for your country. Pay your liberation tax. Free yourselves.
Mama, I will live. Orange promote, na mo e pa kokote. Oleli mote. Mama, I will live. Orange promote, na mo e pa kokote. Mama, my car will oloteni.
It is not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. You have to believe in yourself. You need to have the audacity to be great, the audacity of hope. Ambazonians, this can be Bamenda in 30 years. Choose now. Pay your liberation tax. Free yourselves.
I'll be picking for Bamenda. Oh, I was born in Bamenda. Ayaba in Bamenda. In my best follow. Oh, I will be in a Bamenda. Oh, be picking for Bamenda. Oh, I was born in Bamenda. Ayaba in Bamenda. Rolly K.
Le destin présidentiel se dessine peu à peu avec sa nomination comme Premier ministre d'Amadou Idjo. Il est le successeur constitutionnel.
In the history of La République du Cameroon, two men have held the nation hostage at gunpoint, Ahidjo and Paul Biya. This is a story of Paul Biya versus Ambazonia. His entire life, Biya has believed he is untouchable, that no one or group of people can dare hold him accountable. He murders, loots treasuries, exiled opponents, jail others and bribe the rest into surrender. He murdered his wife and killed the husband of the current wife. He has murdered Ambazonians who rose up. He killed baby Martha, burned Mami Api in the house. He butchered Samsoya and got his head chopped off. He burned thousands of Ambazonian homes and villages, drove millions from their homes and turned them into IDPs and refugees. He murdered children in Gabo on Valentine's Day. All those he couldn't kill, he locked them up. Some who escaped were kidnapped from abroad and brought back to Cameroon. This is the story of a lifetime of a cheap murderer and a war criminal who has survived every opposition until the Ambazonian people rose up.
Have you heard of Ambazonia?
We now have an army determined against all odds to defend the land. An army which is armed, disciplined, and equipped to stop this war criminal from escaping justice again. And most importantly, a nationalist, no-blinking, uncompromising leader who stands up to bullies, murderers, looters, and cheats.
All what it takes.
If we fail, Cameroon has promised to put every Ambazonian in a concentration camp, kill all those in jail, and make everyone else work in CDC plantations as slaves. We, the Ambazonian people, have the powers to render our verdict on Biya. We are his nightmare. Stand with Ambazonia.
Then let the IDPs who have been suffering get schools reopened completely and to get our suffering people back into a life of normalcy.
Welcome to ACN.
Le destin présidentiel se dessine peu à peu avec sa nomination comme Premier ministre d'Amadou Ahidjo. Il est le successeur
In the history of La République du Cameroun, two men have held the nation hostage at gunpoint, Ahidjo and Paul Biya. This is the story of Paul Biya versus Ambazonia. His entire life, Biya has believed he is untouchable, that no one or group of people can dare hold him accountable. He murders, loots treasuries, exiled opponents, jail others and bribe the rest into surrender. He murdered his wife and killed the husband of the current wife. He has murdered Ambazonians who rose up. He killed baby Martha, burned Mami Api in a house. He butchered Samsoya and got his head chopped off. He burned thousands of Ambazonian homes and villages, drove millions from their homes and turned them into IDPs and refugees. He murdered children in Gabo on Valentine's Day. All those he couldn't kill, he locked them up. Some who escaped were kidnapped from abroad and brought back to Cameroon. This is the story of a lifetime of a cheap murderer and a war criminal who has survived every opposition until the Ambazonian people rose up.
Have you heard of Ambazonia?
We now have an army determined against all odds to defend the land. An army which is armed, disciplined, and equipped to stop this war criminal from escaping justice again. And most importantly, a nationalist, no-blinking, uncompromising leader who stands up to bullies, murderers, looters, and cheats.
All what it takes.
If we fail, Cameroon has promised to put every Ambazonian in a concentration camp, kill all those in jail, and make everyone else work in CDC plantations as slaves. We, the Ambazonian people, have the powers to render our verdict on Biya. We are his nightmare. Stand with Ambazonia.
Then let the IDPs who have been suffering get schools reopened completely and to get our suffering people back into a life of normalcy.
Granting us the access into your presence even this morning. And that is why we thought that we cannot continue this without consulting with you and without presenting ourselves to you and without making our requests known to you. Therefore, Father, lead us, guide us, touch us, open the windows that were closed. Father, grant favor to us that when we come into your presence, we get from you, the people of the world also will grant us favor. The world is watching. There are people called leaders in this world. Father, this thing has gone up to 8 years today, and people are quiet. Neighbors are quiet. Those we call friends are quiet. Father, waken them up. Awaken them up, open their eyes to see that people are perishing, people are suffering, that they intervene in this issue. We give you all the praise, the glory. Bless this fundraiser today. Bless it and bless it enormously to the glory of your name and to the blessing of Ambazonia. In Jesus' mighty name.
Amen.
Amen. God bless you, sir.
Amen.
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 Thank you
so much, PS. Thank you so much for all you're doing in the background. We will call on the different missions to start.
The president is in the house, so I'll let the president talk before we'll get the other mission chair.
Okay, my apologies. Welcome, Mr. President. Do you want to introduce the president? PS, please.
No, you go ahead, Chair, Mr. Coordinator. Go ahead, no problem.
Okay. All protocol duly respected, Mr. President. Welcome to the US-led fundraiser for AGOVC. Today we're gonna blow off the roof. And Mr. President, we hear Afro is in fashion. Don't worry, we'll give your own Afro. Mr. President, we are so honored for you gracing this occasion. We give the floor to you, please. Go ahead.
I don't find that quite welcoming that a guy with a lot of hair on his head sitting beside the Iron Lady of Mezam with a lot of hair on her head. And the lady who is my PS is wearing also a big afro, talking about hairs with a man that virtually has nothing. I don't find it funny. All right. AGOVC's leaders, US mission chairman and executives, the foot soldiers of our movement, and I know our friends and supporters, Ambazonian soldiers, I guess, might also be listening. People are tuned in, hoping on what comes out from our monthly endeavors in furtherance of their struggle for freedom. And I really want to thank AGOVC. Today I was reflecting on the structure that we have all built. And I kind of really realized, you know, you don't really need the president to succeed because there is independence and autonomy in planning, in conception, in delivery, and so many things are happening within our movement. It's fascinating. I really want to thank you people all you do despite your own difficulties. It's not easy to be an egg of cyst. We are running a war unlike any war of liberation that we have studied. None of us is enrolled.
So, Mr. Anson, why are they behaving like that?
Are we there?
Go ahead, Mr. President. I'll take care of it.
Yes, we are.
All right. None of us has been drafted like a full-time employee. We jostle between jobs, family, Ambazonia, all full-time, and this is fascinating. I leave this to historians to take notes. We are at an intersection at this particular moment in our struggle, and the burden of our liberation in terms of leadership, in terms of the protection of the values, the ideological foundation upon which our resistance is stands, is the Ambazonian Governing Council. And the forces on the ground, whether they are Ambazonian Defense Forces or other forces, in their quiet moment, they look up to us for direction, for ideas, to be able to have a mental map of the entire territory and to react to existing policies and practice of the enemy or emerging policies and practice of the enemy. We observed a few days ago, dozens of Ambazonians were kidnapped from Biafra land. We saw how they were tied up. We saw a picture of one of them, their eyes gorged out. We listened to the tormenting language of the enemy. We watched with utter dismay that they treated those our citizens. That pushed me today to be able to send out a kind of a memo for our people. The term Amba is almost used in the same vein as the word. The term Amba is almost used in a derogatory manner as the word Jew or Biafrans. So in a neighborhood, when somebody is killed and everybody is curious and they say it's Amba, if they say it's Amba, everybody runs away. Everybody walks away. It is somehow justified because the enemy has constructed a very powerful narrative, unknowingly supported by us, that is derogatory in its conception and in its application, defining the men and women who pick up arms in the defense of our land and freedoms as Amba. And in that way, they can die without anybody questioning. So in that same scenario, if they will pass and find an Ambazonian, and they say it's an Ambazonian civilian, it changes the mindset of the Ambazonian population. And that's why I said today it's very important we immediately stop referring to Ambazonian fighters or Ambazonian forces as Amba. The barbarians are not the military. They are the barbarians in our land. Our forces are called Ambazonian forces or Ambazonian fighters. They have their specific names, whether they are the buffaloes of Bali, the black mambas of Chomba, the mountain lions, the Ambazonian defense forces, the Bue Unity warriors. These are the specific names that are ascribed to the specific forces. In its generic form, they are referred to as Ambazonian forces or Ambazonian fighters. And I'll call on all of you to be able to spread these so that we can undermine the narrative that makes the life of an Ambazonian soldier easily given away. The second issue which I put out this morning, we have faced an unprecedented wave of internal attack on the integrity of our struggle, and that has led to the death of hundreds and hundreds of our forces. The phenomenon of what we call black leg is the principal, if not the sole source of threat on our forces. The Bulu barbarians, in their majority, 99.9%, are French speaking. They barely understand even pidgin language, let alone understand our national languages spoken in our villages. They don't understand our terrain. And so to be able to gather intelligence, they need foot soldiers who are Ambazonians. They have a couple of Ambazonian enemy forces within their midst that are the middlemen and women working with chiefs, quarterheads, and building a vast network of spies who work to provide information so that the enemy can attack our civilian population, attack our forces. Without this network of enablers and enabling institutions, it will be impossible for the Bulu barbarians to succeed in any particular mission. And I got up yesterday, almost past midnight. I received an audio from the Buffaloes of Bali, making it absolutely clear that any Ambazonian soldier who is killed and whose death is as a result of the work of spies, that particular area will be locked down for a month. You kill 2 soldiers, it will be 2 months. 3 soldiers, it will be 3 months. So that the population has to understand that there are consequences on this. So you may ask, isn't that going to be something like collective punishment? These spies live within our midst. They are known to our households, to our neighbors. And that's why I have asked all our communities to see something.
Sorry, audio, please. Audio is not very good.
Do you people hear me?
Mr. President, go ahead. You're 5 on 5.
I think you're fine. Perhaps Vena, check your setup.
Please stop interrupting. They'll take out this speech, please.
The importance of see something and say something for the security of Ambazonian soldiers is critical. And I ask our civilian population to help us fish out those who work for the interests of Cameroon, those who work to ensure that Ambazonian citizens, our sons and daughters, are murdered by those who have illegally occupied our country. I can testify to you people that despite the propaganda and the hit-and-run tactics of the sellout, the foundation of our resistance is doing fine, as has been reflected by the force being demonstrated in the great state of Momo. As you can see, the demonstration of power in Buing, Okitunja, Ndonga Mantung, Mezam, Menchum, Boyo, Meme, and other places. I like to remind you about the uniqueness of our resistance strategy. So anytime you get up, there is weakness in a particular area in our resistance, you should not be bothered, because the uniqueness of our strategy of liberation is grounded in the very nature of our geography and the very nature of the moment, in terms of the fact that we are surrounded by enemies, and we are in 2024 and not 1965. So the uniqueness of these two situations has made it impossible for us to adopt the kind of liberation strategy that was prevalent in the 60s. And as we move forward, as we become more conscious about, what we are supposed to do, the responsibility of both the fighters, the leadership. There are certain areas that will be weakened. This is not simply because of factor A or factor B. It has something to do with the fact that as a liberation war goes down the line, the enthusiasm goes down. It peaks at one moment or the other due to particular injection of ingredients. But generally, the trajectory of a liberation war is undulating. And so we must accept the fact that there will be moments of lows in our struggle. There will be battles that we will lose. There will be areas that are weakened. But because leadership has a liberation plan, we know how to bounce back. We know how to divert. We know how to change our tactics. None of you ever believed that we could assault Nkambe. None of you really ever believed that Ndonga Mantung will be a focal point in resistance. So time and again, we model our strategy to respond to the change of tactics of the enemy. So remain confident and know that what is required in our struggle at this particular moment is your continuous belief in the outcome that we seek. It's your faith and trust in the institutions that we are using to prosecute this war. It's your constant commitment and investment in ensuring that our forces are armed. And I think you've been doing marvelously well. I can say with all thanks, given that this week has been also very good in resource mobilization, as we've mobilized about more than 4.5 million Amba in liberation tax. This is quite amazing. And the calculation is, even if we average at 3 million in 30 weeks, will be 90. And we must have laid a foundation of 100 million in baseline budget and another 100 million or even 60 that will be constantly injected for the resistance. And so don't relent your effort. And somebody said to me yesterday, he said, "See, look, at the beginning of this war, everybody sought to starve us of the resources that we needed to fund our forces. And each time they invent strategies of blackmail or the kind of muddy the waters to demoralize our people so they don't commit, I kind of like bring in new innovative ideas on how we can mobilize resources. And I think liberation tax is important for all Ambazonians. And I ask everyone to commit and make sure that they pay their taxes. This is your covenant with the Ambazonian resistance. This is your utmost commitment to the outcome of freedom and justice for all those who are in jail and all those who have died. As far as today is concerned, we have said from the beginning, the essence of this fundraiser is to make sure that our anti-20th May campaign is as effective as our anti-11 February campaign. And we want to also make sure that we invest in particular states like Boyo, in Donga and Mantung, to invest in Meme, to invest in, we are constantly investing in Mezam, to rebuild Momo in a way that it reflects, the period of its greatest strength. So I'll be very grateful that all of you sitting here today, all of those who are listening to us out there, all of those who listen to me speak to them today, should make sure that they are part of this commitment towards ensuring that we bury 20 May once and for all and give our people hope. I really want to thank all the heads of missions for your continuous dedication, the leadership of finance, the leadership especially of the US mission, for all you represent, for the burden that you've accepted to carry, to shoulder for the Ambazonian Governing Council and the Ambazonian people. And I ask you never to give up, because you've seen exactly the result that your sacrifices is producing. And as you continuously commit, you will continuously be exposed to new realities that will inspire the vast majority of our people. The enemy is bankrupt. The international system is relying on some miracle because it doesn't want to commit to the Ambazonian people as an alternative harbinger of stability in the Gulf of Guinea. But as Cameroon descends into total catastrophe, as we roll down into 2025. We must build a better model in terms of institutions, in terms of a vision of post-independence, economic, social, and political policies that will uplift our people from this state of total calamity to a different pedestal of hope and expectation. And Ambazonia will leave no one behind. We'll walk along with those who cannot run, make sure that we take everybody along this journey of our total emancipation. Our struggle is not going to end in Ambazonia. We look forward to an Africa that makes the Black race proud, that gives hope to millions of people, that ensures that, mosquito does not totally eliminate, the next generation, that women don't simply die for giving birth because there are no hospitals, that children have the kind of education that they need to meet the challenges of the new millennium. And what you do here today is planting that seed. As I always said, our first chapter is written at birth by our parents. The last chapter is written by those who take us while we die. We're at the second chapter. And I thank you for being the authors of a brilliant chapter in our lives.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just for update, the U.S. mission opened the fundraiser with a sum of $6,000, just so you know, and then you have something to say to that.
What else can I say? Thank you, U.S. mission. You've always done it. And I'm grateful to each and every one of you. And I encourage all the other missions. I know the difficulties in your different constituencies, but if you are dedicated, it's going to happen. So thank you very much, U.S. mission. Thanks for leading this fundraiser.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We are so grateful to have you here. And just so you know, in the U.S. mission, our monthly dues are separate from the fundraiser dues. So we take pride in this, in what we do. We are certain that we will see a free Ambazonia, and that's why we're committing to this monthly fundraiser and monthly commitment into our missions without fear. Thank you, Mr. President. So the floor is open. At this point, the floor is open to other missions to come in and make their commitment.
Comrade Kecha, honestly speaking, thank you so much. You take that assignment, you catch them, you run with them, you execute them like pro. I think say for now, so that one will not need for the campaign again. We'll go just make you, maybe you'll become president of that community forum, because your hand mobilization no easy. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I already on the community forum, please. I think the wrong list was copied. Some of the pledges from U.S. mission from the USA were paid. So I think someone had forwarded the wrong list.
Okay.
No, those that were paid, according to what I see, those that were paid were
and they had already paid this money, $200. So it's not a pledge.
It was not marked. It was not marked paid.
So can we clear that in the background, please? We can clear that in the background. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Comrade Kecha, you be change your name. That name they like that. That name.
I tell you much.
Oh, you be just put as a president of community forum.
I beg. No.
and we want to use this opportunity. I don't say that.
Like, una know something. And a community forum, they host for mail. So we will do push up for support them as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Absolutely. And along those lines, I don't message people then privately. Me, they change their names to name will feel recognized so that we feel identify them. If we not feel recognize them, I will be sorry. We'll probably kick una out of the forum. So I beg when I just change una names, very easy. So I'll feel recognized una. That said, we will move on to the next item. Then we'll continue with our fundraiser. So the next item we will welcome.
More just I beg comrade. More just admit Pardo either unmute. So make we give you the chance, make it talk. Then we'll get to the next point.
Please, yes. Let's go ahead.
Pardo, you get flawed.
Comrade, all my praise day. All my praise day.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can you hear me now?
Yes. 5 on 5.
Yeah. Today my daughter is going to support the revolution today with 1,000 rand.
Wow.
My daughter Sonia her name is Sonia. She's gonna support the revolution today with 1,000 rand. I'm very happy that our chairman Jemisco, has pronounced the amount we are supposed to contribute to support the U.S. mission. So I'm going to give 1,000 rand for my daughter Sonia. You can write down. I will give it to the mission.
Thank you so much, Nido. Thank you.
Thank
you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mangia, you are introduced VP because me and VP will already look alike. So if I introduce VP, I introduce them myself. So Mangia, beg, go ahead.
How you give me the kind of difficult assignment? I was starting about outside for introduce VP. Oh my goodness, VP. I want make we take this opportunity for welcome VP. This morning I'll be listening to an interview with Spokes, and I'll be so inspired, and now person where he get chosen words. It wasn't be carefully selected and chosen, and it answer question like whether you throw any question for you get answer for you. So now the person where they come briefly on what way it happen in the realm of diplomacy. So more we open with ears, them will listen to the man with few chosen heavy loaded words. Welcome, VP.
No nonsense, boy.
Thanks a lot. All my place day. U.S. mission. I think people have re-energized me today. I'm so happy. I'll probably have another good night's sleep because with your opening of the fundraiser and the support of other missions, it shows that we are on the right track. Protocol duly respected. I like the name of one person, so I'll give you revolutionary salute, Fisherman. So I don't know who Fisherman is, but that's a name that stands out. We come here every towards the end of the month or every month in order to recommit to our revolution. As I earlier said, it is not how much you give that wins wars. It's not the extent of your commitment in any endeavor in life that makes you successful, but it is your persistence. So therefore, if we chip in, day out, as we have been doing, irrespective of the amount, and I congratulate all the missions, all the people that have stood by the Egg of Sea, even when the Egg of Sea was the underdog between 2016 and 2020, Egg of Sea was the underdog, but you never let your guard down. You continuously contributed, and you have contributed even when you are leading to make sure that Cameroon's reign in Ambazonia ends with this generation. So I thank you, all of you that have found time within your busy schedules to be here with us today. Know that your sacrifices remain a debt that Ambazonia would pay in terms of freedom. Know that it is in your continuous sacrifices that we will become triumphant. If you ever had even $1, be proud to announce it here that I'm supporting with $1. That dollar and other dollars is what will make the whole to liberate Ambazonia. So that's my message for today. In terms of diplomacy is predicated on power. And nowadays, power is not just military might, but also communication and the networks that you create. So far this year, in terms of our outreach and in terms of galvanizing support, Cameroon has used different avenues. They have even used the priests and clergymen of all people of Ambazonian origin to reach out to the Hague of Sea to see if we can talk. We have told them that for us to talk meaningfully, Cameroon would make a public declaration, because it is not long ago Cameroon, through the famous or infamous ECO talk to Ambazonia. It's not long ago Cameroon initiated the Swiss process. It's not long ago Cameroon initiated the Canada process. But one thing is clear from all of these processes that Cameroon initiated: they turn around, and when they are defeated, they refuse that there was any process as the Swiss, as the Canadian, as the ECO, and so on and so forth. So for the Ambazonian Governing Council, and this is for the record, Cameroon would need to make a public announcement every time they want to talk to Ambazonia officially. But Cameroon knows that it's a non-starter to talk with the breed of negotiators that we have within the Ambazonian Governing Council. That's a fact. The head of diplomacy, our SS, that was appointed and charted his path for 2024 forward. He was within the review meeting last week. And so far, so good in diplomacy. I think we have achieved all the milestones set forth in the first quarter. And I would like to remind you, Hague of Seas, that we are not good because of chance. We are good because we, in the Hague of Sea, we do the hard work, we use best practices, and we review our jobs day in, day out. And that's the reason why all the different departments are being reviewed on a quarterly basis to see where they have made strides, to see where they have fallen a little bit short, and how we can mitigate the deficiencies and enhance the strengths that we have within the organization. And that's the hallmark of the Hague of Sea. As such, within the diplomacy, we are reaching out to non-traditional partners. I think this is the first time that we have made it clear that the international system was first, and to some extent, led by the West. In the last few years, we have seen the world become a multipolar world. And as such, we cannot stick our eggs in one basket, a basket that is at the origin of our continuous colonialism, that is at the origin of our continuous slavery under Cameroon. Bear in mind, the West is cognizant of Cameroon's presence in Ambazonia, and they plotted Cameroon's presence in Ambazonia. And as such, while we continuously engage with the West, we engage with other emerging centers of power. And the SS, kudos to him, has reached out. And remember, diplomacy is slow. He has reached out to all of these, what we call non-traditional partners, but they are a huge force. And I would say the leading economic, political, and military force in the world. In that regard, we hope that avenues would open. Remember when we started diplomacy in 2017, 2018, we started with the small countries, and our naysayers said the Hague of Sea is not doing anything. But little did they know that we spread our tentacles deep in the international system, and we understand it. And that's why within 2 years thereafter, we're able to open doors, even at the UN. We're able to open doors in the West as well as in the East of the Atlantic Ocean. And they continuously brief us as we speak on the happenings within the international system. Our partners, or what I will call our contender partners, those that are betting for Ambazonians, they still advise the Hague of Sea in diplomacy. They still support the Hague of Sea both in terms of consulting, but also to some extent financially when there are issues to be dealt with at the diplomatic realm. So that's where the AGOVC has been in the last few months, and it shows you the road that we've traveled. It is our strong belief that within the next year or two, we should be at a good footing with the non-traditional partners. And we think the non-traditional partners are more dependable, although they don't carry a colonial baggage. They also have interests that needs to be addressed. But we are fully optimistic that the AGOVC has what is required. Ambazonia has what is needed in order to address the interests of non-traditional partners. But we continuously engage with all the different centers of power within the globe. And that when Ambazonia would be free, as I earlier said, it will come as a surprise. We have defeated Cameroon internationally. If Cameroon is defeated on the ground, we have brought untold misery to Cameroon at the diplomatic level. Nobody listens to Cameroon again. And as the president just said, the international system is just sitting. They themselves are defeated. They don't know what to do with Cameroon. They are hoping that a magic happens and Cameroon is able to hold through. They are yet unwilling to beg for Ambazonia to become the center of peace in the Gulf of Guinea. They are just hoping by some magic Cameroon can rescue itself. But we know for sure that Cameroon is defeated. Cameroon is in shambles internally and externally, but more so externally because nobody believes in Cameroon anymore. And Cameroon is not getting the diplomatic favors and support as it used to get. But as a sovereign state, it is the norm in the international system to stay clear, to not intervene in sovereign state as far as is practically possible. However, we are hopeful, and as diplomacy is very slow, that we will triumph over Cameroon conclusively in the international sphere, both with the traditional and with the non-traditional diplomatic centers of power around the globe. With this note, I implore you all to stay steadfast, to understand that our boys on the ground are brave, they are daring, they are galvanizing liberation tax more than the diaspora. But I know the diaspora is also paying in the liberation tax. What I would request of us all is to make sure that we chip in, even if it's a widow's mite on a regular basis. That is what shows strength. That is what resupply the forces. That is what makes schools in Ambazonia, the community schools, to be operational. That is what gives hope to our people. I have messages from ground one, and I know most of you have messages. The AGOVC is the last hope of Ambazonia. Without the AGOVC, there will be no Ambazonia, and that's a fact. Accept it or leave it. And as such, we carry a heavy weight on our shoulders. And that heavy weight means that while we go on with our daily lives, we should do what it takes in order to support those fighting on the ground, in order to make sure that they have the necessary resources, they have the necessary equipment, they have the necessary tools in order to kick out the last vestiges of Cameroon, which are held mostly by the enablers, by traitors, and that our most important enemy now in Ambazonia is not Cameroon. They are the Cambazonians. They are those Ambazonians that think that they are Cameroonians. They are those enablers, those traitors, and those what we generally call blacklegs, and that the war on blackleg would intensify. Our two-pronged approach this year is mostly focused on the war on blackleg and economic sabotage. and your funds will go a long way to do such. Oh man, he plays day. Hail, hail, Ambazonia.
Thank you
VP,
so much.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
VP. Thank you. I
Yeah,
said it.
please day, VP.
Your words are heavily loaded. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Hey, lady, just a second, please. Thank you, VP. Place the fisherman, one of your foot soldiers for South Africa mission. Thank you for recognizing me.
21 God salute, fisherman.
Thank you, VP.
Thank you so much, VP.
VP, you make my day.
Yeah. I mean, VP, each time we listen to you, we're always inspired, you and our CIC. Like you said, without the egg of sea, there's no hope for Ambazonia. So everyone in here, we really thank you for holding holding the revolution, or staying steadfast to our hopes and our dreams. Without us, I mean, we all know that. And we also know that Ambazonia is real. It will happen. So that's why we have to hold steadfast till we see our independence. I mean, when you come to think of it, La Republica has never, they hold nothing over us besides the fact that they are supported by other states. Think about it. We've held ourselves and fought with these people for these years with nothing. So they really have nothing to stop us from attaining our independence. We hold a key to our independence. And so with that, thank you all for supporting this monthly fundraisers, Unwavering. So the next item on the agenda, we will hear from from the defense chief. We'll hear about the activities of defense on the ground and what's to come, or perhaps not. So Def Chair, if you are in here, we will give you the floor. Please, everybody, the Def Chair.
Before the Def Chair makes his way here, I want to quickly make a small announcement. I don't know if it's an announcement, but just express my gratitude for this month. This month, to me, is a very significant month. It's the month that today in particular, the 30th, is when I was initiated into motherhood. So it's my son's birthday, and Monday that just passed, the 25th, was another day that I was initiated into twin motherhood. Wow. So this month is very significant to me. I'm so thankful, I'm so grateful, and for that reason, I have made my contributions in the U.S. mission, I've made my contributions in the community forum, and I'm going to add $100 just to thank God for blessing me this month.
Wow, that is amazing, man. Yeah. You know, and you know, I'm a twin myself, right? So with that, I will support you with $50 through Comrade Azar.
Yes, sir.
I will also support you with $100 because my mother was a mange.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Thank you all so much. Oh, wow, I'm honored. Thank you.
Oh, Maggie.
I am glad how you set me up.
Maggie, me too. You know, I'm a twin. So
hey, Manna. Hey.
I'm going to support with 50.
Hey, Manna.
Yes. Congratulations, Maggie.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Manna.
Manje, now we fire away. You don't start them today, so we.
I don't know, Papa. More Johnny
you know, say, Manje the door.
Yes,
don't burn me, oh.
Yes.
Nakayamata, where you come out today, Anake.
Bring her.
I bring
no,
up.
We for support you know, between them. They
for
work.
Support,
they don't
for
work.
support you, you know, my power. From my power, they were that part. He passed away the month, and the one thing with that part, it be tell me that say they be start the fight. No, be finish him. Say, but he know say our generation we go finish him. So, in honor of that part, I will add my support by
an additional $200.
Wow.
Ambazonia,
Oh yeah, yeah,
wow.
House.
Comrade Comrade Benaya,
Bena.
please.
Yes.
Shake
Oh,
no
but
day.
I
Shake no
right.
day. Comrade Bakwa, I see you.
I hear your mind. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you were on top. Manager, I look you for work on eye.
Yes.
Okay, Abeg, let's continue after the deaf chair must have addressed us.
Just because you don't do what you don't
Yes,
do,
please.
me, I don't enter for support that cause.
Let the money flow in.
I don't continue for support that cause. I don't first send my U.S. mission $50, and I don't want for support mine again with $50.
Thank you, Comrade
Wow,
Bakwa.
wow, thank you.
Thank you,
Wow,
thank
wow,
you.
wow.
Yes, thank you. Shake no day. Thank you.
Remember, we got that debit.
How am I supposed to change this here?
You go
So,
back.
Okay. Okay, so we will mute all man, make we give floor for.
But what happens, there is a place for funds.
Okay, so we'll mute all man, then give the floor for our deaf chair for give with defense briefing. So I'll just mute all man right away. Defense chair, please unmute yourself, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Chairman. And as I said, she represents the mothers today, so I will add my own $50 on top of everything that everybody is adding. Mr. Chairman Liu of our get together this afternoon, thanks a lot for your help. Madam Pierce, Iron Lady, and all those, Chairman Kavi, all those who have been supporting you in your effort today. Una place them day, all money place day. Our forces on the ground, our comrades in jail, those that are in the refugee camps, we recognize them and we tell them that our efforts today are meant that a homeland, a grateful homeland will welcome them. I think I would use this opportunity when I heard the president talk. I think that we as Ambazonians have gone through a lot. Our spirits are undaunted. We have always accepted a colonial ideal of what gentlemen and ladies are. And I don't think that any people on earth have taken those lessons as Ambazonians have, which are things that made us take with a lot of cool the subjugation of our land by an enemy who know no law, who has no culture, who are stupider than us. I know, stupider, yeah. That we stand and we always put this mantra of gentlemen and gentle ladies, while thugs and thieves and rapists run rampant in our living rooms and our bedrooms. We are Ambazonians. We are not gentlemen in the British sense. And we will never be those gentlemen who through those codes were able to enslave an entire continent, calling themselves gentlemen. Murder our forefathers and sold us like so much chattel over the table to their French allies. If any of us ever in our dreams, think of doing something for our land, for our families, for ourselves, and we ever think to put in our mind that a gentleman or a lady cannot do this, then we know that we are still under that slave mentality. So it's in that light that when this week we got a request that a humanitarian organization wanted to visit Momo, it was very clear. Our response was very clear. We have suspended every humanitarian action within Momo by any organization. Any of them that through hook or crook attempt to enter into that space, they will bear the responsibility of going into a war zone. We are not going to guarantee any of them any bit of safety. And I put that here and made that statement to them based on a history of our forces being attacked on the heels of these guys penetrating our hinterlands. At this particular moment, enablers, traitors, collaborators together with La République du Cameroon, as they have done, have been very clear that they are going to break the back of our struggle in Momo. We are going to take any actions within our power to make sure that the message that they seem after 7 years not to have received is received by them. At this particular moment, a clear mandate has gone to all our barracks. Zero tolerance on enablers, on collaborators, on the enemies that lurks amongst us. We would progressively, in each case, monitor the request for permission to visit different sectors of Ambazonia, and where we deem necessary, we are going to take heavy action that we don't open our people up to further betrayals. You know, I came today hoping to deliver a message of unwavering strength, relentless determination, and an imminent dawn to our freedom. Our journeys have been long and our battles fierce. But I can assure you that the spirit of our soldiers remain unbroken. We are, I believe, on the precipice of reclaiming our land, our rights, and our dignity from the grip of this brutal occupation. Over the past month, our valiant forces have engaged the enemy across several fronts. In the Bamenda military district, in the Bui military district, the Momo military district, and we've had skirmishes in the Meme military district. I can assure you, Ambazonians, these confrontations are testaments to our resilience and our commitment to the cause of our freedom. In the Bui military district, our warriors showcased unparalleled bravery, engaging in fierce hand-to-hand combats, as some of you have witnessed on the streets against the occupation forces. We inflicted multiple casualties upon them. while our forces in those confrontations on the streets of Bui returned to the base with pride, unscathed, and victorious. Despite serious enemy pressure to our forces in Donga, both with their internal enablers, our forces there have withstood them, battled them, and I can assure you the enemy left the battlefield in Donga on multiple occasions this past month with dead terrorist bodies. Unfortunately, we also sustained some casualties, and I send my condolences to our forces in Donga and the families whose loved ones battled so bravely on the battlefield. In Bamenda, our IED unit struck a significant blow to the enemy by targeting an enemy convoy at Mulang, displaying our tactical superiority when it comes to shadowing them and their movements. Additionally, there were confrontations at Church Street and around the brasseries, resulting in numerous enemy casualties. I can tell you these skirmishes, these confrontations in the middle of towns, in the outskirts of towns, is weakening the resolve of these occupationists. Momo witnessed our determination as we boldly confronted the enemy in the midst of Batibo and Guzang, and also in Ashong. We limited their movements while reinforcing the lockdown of the Trans-African Highway, a clear indication of who controls the land. I know it is a bitter pill for the Momo cartel to swallow. I know they thought that they had crippled the liberation struggle in Momo. I know they have gone back to the drawing board. But let me send a very clear warning to them. The lockdown of the Trans-African Highway and the high cost that their master in La République du Cameroun is sustaining is just the beginning of multiple efforts underway that I can assure them bluntly will neutralize them. They have engaged in battle with us. We had ignored them, but now we are sure all of the internet warriors, the internet traitors, the online enablers who make threats, who attack our forces, attack the liberation. I believe you. Our forces believe you. Ambazonia believe you. So whenever you sit down to make an audio to send out, know that we recognize that you mean what you say and you say what you mean. And we will engage you according to your words. My fellow Ambazonians, as we move into April and May, we are aware that the occupation forces will attempt to assert their control through demonstrations and celebrations, culminating in a 20th May, aiming to signify their capture and subjugation of our land. Again, let this serve as a stark warning to any traitors or collaborator who dare to support this travesty. The consequences will be severe and justice will be swift. We will not tolerate any action that aid the occupier or betray the cause of our people. Right now, our forces will be doing checks. If you are caught with any paraphernalia, CPDM t-shirts, flags, or any monuments that will serve as symbols for those celebrations, you will be held accountable and you will suffer the consequences, not only on that 20th May, but in the hidden preparation that you might be doing. Any business that is caught in Ambazonia printing paraphernalias for that day, that business will cease to exist. The liberation struggle will either cease everything or that business will be destroyed so that it is productive on our land no more. I know that these business people and a lot of these might not listen to what I am saying or don't have the opportunity. But we sit here as a community and our words are not limited here. So my words should go out to them. Those who don't hear should hear, because there will be no excuse about not having heard the warning go out. Furthermore, we urge all Ambazonians to adhere strictly to the laws against selling contraband and using foreign number plates, as these actions only serve to strengthen the enemy. The revolution's full weight will bear down on those who defy these laws. As the cases have been shown with brasseries, my fellow Ambazonians, we are increasing the cost of occupation. There are certain battles that we had already won, but there has been a relaxation. From the economic to the military, the Ambazonian Defense Forces are retightening the belt on which our resistance has been built, which is increasing the cost of occupation, making our land ungovernable, and strengthening our international diplomatic appeal. Our struggle is supported by the unwavering commitment of our people. The liberation tax is a sacred duty, a testament to our collective resolve to end the brutal occupation. It is not optional. It is the price of citizenship, of belonging to a community united in the quest of freedom. Those who shirk this responsibility are putting themselves in a place where they will pay a higher cost in the future. At this particular moment, there are Ambazonian families that are not only paying the liberation tax, but have already paid with the blood of their family for Ambazonia. For the majority of us, we are asked to do the bare minimum. And if we can't do that, we don't merit the blood that flows in our vein. And so it is important, as we look forward to victory, as we look forward to giving our forces the tools that enables them to have fought a power backed by two world powers, backed by East and West, to have battled them, a fight that they thought would take 2 weeks, Going now on 7 years, we are able to shut down trans-African highways, able to lock down towns and cities, able to control our own schools. 7 years in. Let's finish the job. Let us finish the job. Let's pay our liberation taxes. I promise you, the job will be finished. Our forces have already defeated the enemy on the ground. At 25% and the enemy at 75, 80%, our forces have never lost a battle. We have defeated these Turks. Let us finish the job. And if you stay behind and just the bare minimum that is asked for you for the liberation tax, you not only defy and shame your heritage, you actually are an impediment to victory right now. So I encourage everyone, beginning within us and spreading to our families and our communities, to commit to this. Let's commit as a country for a year and see if next year we are not in Buea. The road ahead is fraught with challenges. But let us remember that no force on earth can match the power of a people united for their freedom. Our resolve is stronger than ever. Our cause, you know, is just. I cannot tell you otherwise. You know it yourself. But I can assure you that our victory is certain. To the brave souls who have sacrificed, to those who continue to stand firm against the oppressors, our Ambazonian defense forces on the ground, know that your courage fuels our march towards freedom. The families who have borne the brunt of this struggle, your resilience is our inspiration. Stand together as one Ambazonia, the diaspora, ground zero, the forces, the citizens, soldiers, the captives, the refugees. We stand together as one Ambazonia, indivisible, indomitable. Our time is now. Let us march towards that victory with the confidence that our land will be liberated, our people free, our future as bright as you can ever wish for your precious son and daughter. U.S. Mission, its chairman and members, thank you very much for bringing us together as a community today. Thank you for your sacrifice, and to all those who have contributed today from the bottom of my heart. God bless you and thank you all. God bless Ambazonia.
I did the check now. When I did the do now, oh no. Climb that by. Climb that by. Oh! I said never. Come. Park that thing for there. Never. Let that thing come. Climb the bike. When I burn me that motor for down, they can't climb the bike. They say lockdown. Winners for life. They demand soldier there. Now they.
Arise, stubborn Cameroons. Ambazonian rise. Some man came with all the lies, but never liked us from the start. We shouldn't have believed in such a pact. Perhaps a little patience would have yielded fruit. Did we have to go through all this? Do we see the wounds of this brotherhood? Southern Cameroons, you are a nation in exile. Amazonia, your children are strangers in their homeland. Some have fled to distant lands. Southern Cameroons, arise, arise, ooh, and bring your nation home. They dismantled all what made us proud. Corporate, traditional, and economic. They crippled our infrastructure, made poverty a way of life. Do you see the misery and human suffering? All in the name of brotherhood. Southern Cameroons, you are a nation in exile. Amazonia, your children are strangers in their homeland. Some have fled to distant lands. Southern Cameroons, arise, arise, ooh, and bring your nation home. When we stood across the bridge, insisting that things must change, while our Fontaine sang Boga and the Ambe, they made it known, short and plain, that things will have to change. Did you see the force unleashed for daring to speak? Southern Cameroons, you are a nation in exile. Amazonia, your children are strangers in their homeland. Some have fled to distant lands. Southern Cameroons, arise, arise, ooh, and bring your nation home. Today our homeland is a dismal wasteland, desolate and disconsolate. Fire, killings, destruction in the name of brotherhood. Do you believe in such brotherhood? Tell me, do you really believe? Arise, Southern Cameroons!